It's Wednesday, the 13th of June, 2012. I'm Alex Jones. Thank you for joining us for another original edition of InfoWars Nightly News. Straight ahead.
Tonight, zombies, deniers, sociopaths, schemers, and protectors. The 5 dominant personalities you'll encounter in a world gone mad. Then, a chart that shows the Bilderberg Group's connection to everything in the world. Plus, a new poll shows that the U.S. drone program is very unpopular around the world, with one clear exception. The majority of the American people approve. And Alex Jones talks with Lloyd Chapman and Chuck Baldwin.
If you're going to break the yoke of this chain that we're in, you're going to have to do it suddenly. You're going to have to do it violently, and you're going to have to do it in a manner in which you're unwilling to accept the compromises of the status quo, and you are demanding that people rise up for a cause and a principle of righteousness. And the people accept the call, they see it, they rise up, and they bring that restoration, whatever it is, to the culture, to the community.
That's up next, the InfoWars Nightly News.
Again, thank you for joining us. Huge show lined up tonight. We've got Lloyd Chapman of the American Small Business League showing how the globalists are trying to shut down small businesses that supply 90% of the jobs in this country. Talk about deindustrialization. This is it. And we got Chuck Baldwin joining us to talk about Rand Paul. He's the guy that Ron Paul endorsed for president when he lost the Republican primary in 2008. Chuck Baldwin in the explosive interview coming up. First off, I'm glad the Business Insider picked up on this because we saw this map. I looked at it. It's incredibly accurate. Using computers, the researcher was able to connect the Bilderberg members, the 125 or so and their minions, to every major Fortune 500 company, right down into government, academia, you name it. The map is amazing. So computers are being used as a double-edged sword for liberty, not just oppression and tyranny. And you look at it, the 125 members or so, and the interlocking directorates of the Fortune 500, it's clear they want the world for themselves. They're not free market. As John D. Rockefeller said, competition is a sin. And the article goes on, but perhaps it's a compelling argument for why the meetings should be public. Absolutely, because most of these companies are living off government contracts, shutting down their competition, and using government to also go out there and create regulations that shut down their competitors, but that they themselves are exempt from. And you notice when we show the video that we're giving you the WordPress site that originally did this computer breakdown research. Amazing information. In fact, as of showtime tonight, 7 o'clock Central, Kurt Nimmo just got the tax filings of the groups that fund Bilderberg, that actually pay for the conference. And it's the big Federal Reserve member banks, of course. That article is also just up at Infowars.com via Kurt Nimmo. Speaking of other breaking news, continuing a week after Bilderberg aftermath, where David Rockefeller didn't show up and some other bigwigs didn't show up, it's really starting to fall apart because you can't have criminal activity if there's a spotlight on it. Exclusive, Bilderberg 1966 data dump, the war on nationalism exposed. We scanned some of the 300-plus pages of leaked, restricted, not for publication documents from the 66 meeting. Now they're all up at Infowars.com. And the article exclusive, Bilderberg 1966 data dump, the war on nationalism exposed. And that's all they talk about is how horrible nationalism is. And why? Doesn't mean countries or governments are perfect. They don't want any government. They want a global government over what your so-called government, where they write the laws that they're exempt from to totally control you. And they are so upset over the fact that in a nationalistic system in history, you have a tendency of the people's will being exercised. And freedom being engaged in. Countries aren't perfect, but they're firewalls. What if there weren't countries? There have been global, EU, world governments for Hitler to take control over. The Soviets. The Soviets wanted a world government. They don't want firewalls. It's like a ship's bulkheads. Water comes in one, but it's got bulkheads. It doesn't flood the rest. That's why you want diversity. That's why you want different countries. I'll tell you right now, I've been in different places around the world, and the U.S. is the best I've found so far. Europe's too expensive. It's beautiful, but Latin America's beautiful, but there's so much crime and poverty. The globalists want to have poverty to control people. But, my point is there's nowhere to run. But it is good if there's an emergency to have some place to run. That is basically the firewall. And again, this is teleprompter-free news. So you get statements like, there's nowhere to run, but you got to have countries to run to because there's got to be a place to run. My point is there's tyranny everywhere, but if stuff gets really bad, it's better to jump out in the middle of the dark somewhere than, be stuck with a New World Order coming down on you. So that's some hillbilly poetry right there at you.